Whatever we dream,
The clock is ticking on your satisfaction.
there are no mistakes.
She told me.
There are no accidents.
The clock is ticking on your satisfaction.
Everything around us can be used.
We can paint the passion or create distractions. Go to bed hungry, wake up and make it happen. I can't erase what happened. My unfaithful actions with fake attractions. Okay, mistakes are happen.
Shaheem Reed, I'm here. I haven't talked to this man in many moons, but it's good to see you around Fest. How are you?
Love, man. How you feeling, brother?
I'm great, man. I'm great, and it's great to see you. We started doing interviews like right at the beginning of your career when you was putting music out, and it's great to see that you're still going. It's great to see that you in the lab and the bars are still sharp, man.
Yeah, I'm healthy. Hey, you know what's interesting, man? I think a lot of people think if you don't put music out to the public, then maybe you're not doing music. But for me, bro, like what we do, the thing that's our gift, it's therapy for me. It's not a product that's just always gonna be pimp. You know what I'm saying? Or like for whatever the cash clicks and prizes are. Like I really view writing rhymes and rhyming as a way to express myself and keep myself spiritually balanced. So even when I'm not, sometimes I don't put stuff out. I might not put stuff out for years because I really want to grow enough for myself and have enough left over for the marketplace. It really ain't for the marketplace.
Yeah, and with artists too, it's like when you making this music, you just don't want to sometimes you just don't want to fling it out. I mean, we come from a mixtape era where people was, just putting stuff out on the streets and everything. But now in this digital age, I know a lot of artists, they want to do it differently, man. And, they might want to just sit on the music until they can line everything up because, it's a lot to line up when you're putting out music too. Yeah.
It is. I think, again, when you're putting it out, trying to get a certain return from it, you know what I'm saying? Where I'm at right now, though, man, is like your music is a commercial. And the question is, what is it a commercial for? Some people selling products like merch. Some people trying to go on tour. Some people, might be in line with a brand. Like, so for example, I did a strategic partnership deal with the Golden State Warriors. So when I look good, the Golden State Entertainment looks good. And they're trying to just make content that makes impact in community. So, this last project I just put out, James and Nikki, that's what that commercial was intended to do, make communal impact. So it's like, I think a lot of people got to look at their music like, when you put it in the public, what is that a commercial for? What is the product? The music itself right now ain't the product.
It's a lot to go with it. You mentioned Golden State. How did that affiliation come about? Because you from being Windy City.
Yeah. So relationships, man. The guy, David Kelly, aka Cap D, who's the head general counsel for the Golden State Warriors. He came at me one day and was like, "Look, man, we want to put out documentaries, music, books, all types of just content that shows where our community is headed." And I'm like, why is a basketball franchise doing that? Like putting out content-driven things. And he basically was like, we got the fans, we already got all the assets, we really want to make a difference. And I thought it was good for me because I'm looking like, I don't have to get 1 million clicks. I don't have to, all I got to do is go deep. All I got to do is make something that matters. He's like, yeah, man, that's what we want, And I've been knowing Dave Kelly for about 30 years. We've been knowing each other since the underground hip hop days. Wow. And when he came at me with that, I was like, damn, I'm glad we've been building a good relationship for this long. For my man to go from being a rapper to being a lawyer to launching a whole entertainment conglomerate off a basketball franchise and inviting me to it. And so I didn't sign as an artist. I signed as a strategic partner to help him build that type, to build Golden State Entertainment. And so, you know, I'm happy. But when you ask, how does it happen? Relationships, good relationships.
You know what's amazing too now, Fest, is like, you know, we look at some of these guys and women that was like hip hop fans like in their early 20s, you know, 20 years ago. Now they still fans, but now they in these executive positions. You know, we get to see them grow into like these different positions and get a chance to put their passion and their love of the culture on full display for everybody. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
And guess what, bro? They not all looking for a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old. They're looking for intergenerational art. You know what I mean? So like a lot of times people that are in our generation, Generation X, or even, you know, whoever, like we think, well, I can't do it over there, or I can't do it like this because this is where I am. Yo, man, in this world, you make your position. A position ain't there to be given to you. Power is to be taken. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was perfect that he was looking for somebody like me from Generation X. But what I'm able to offer is the younger artists that they sign. I'm able to help them with the experience inside of their art. You know, with my lived experience. So I just really think music, it has to be a generational sport, man. It can't be an intergenerational sport. It can't just be us and them. Nobody will survive like that.
Absolutely. And you know, we definitely gonna get to the music, man. But you've always been somebody that have helped the community. In addition to being an artist, man, you've gotten out there and you've spoken to so many peoples of various walks of life, and you've helped with dollars, but you've given a lot of your time and just energy into bettering these different communities, man. Like,
yeah.
How has that journey been for you?
I'm still on it, bro. You know, I'm running for office right now. I'm running for school board in the city of Chicago. This is going to be Chicago's first elected school board in its history. Usually in Chicago, the school board is appointed by the mayor. Now, the school board, Chicago Public Schools bring in about $7 billion a year. This is more than some states. This is more than some governments. And so 7 billion, 6 out of every 10 property tax dollars in Chicago go to the schools. And so there are 21 members on the school board, and it's going to be very important on this first school board election who's representing the dollars for Chicago public schools and how children are being educated, how schools are funded, equity, you know, and even what they're learning. So, you know, I'm campaigning, I'm putting my candidacy in, running for elected school board, and, you know, looking forward to working with the Chicago public schools and the young people in the neighborhood I live in, because I still live on the south side of Chicago, and just making, like you said, bro, making the community a more prosperous, equitable, healthy place to be.
Yeah, you know, I want to just dive a little bit deeper into that, just that state of mind, because, you know, a lot of people think that if you want to run for like an office or, you know, run for election, they always thinking like mayor or governor, that it has to be something, you know, at the very top, but they don't know that, or they might not even be familiar with some of these other offices is where these laws and everything come into shape. You know, like you got to start from the ground up. And with you, man, you're working at the very, very foundation, because the school system, this is where these kids are coming from, little babies, damn it, man, and it's helping to mold their minds. And it's funny because I might not be able to tell you what I had for dinner last night, but I still can some conversations that I had with a teacher at like 6, 7 years old. You know, like you'd be surprised the impact that you have on a young mind.
You know, I think to your point too, man, for me, it's important to get black males into the teaching classrooms. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot that black men can learn from the students to really sharpen ourselves and raise our spiritual empathetic stations in life. What I'm finding with black men, bro, we do okay at making money. We do okay at getting property, at gaining power. But where we're in need, I think, is our empathy, is the way we like look at something and use spirituality and use our hearts, you know what I'm saying, to really like love our community back to its maximum potential. And I think black men as teachers, at least the black male teachers I had, they helped discipline me, but they also helped me understand, and they understood me. So I think black men could get a lot out of going into teaching. And I think black students and students of all races could really get a lot out of having a black male as a teacher, to having empathy for black masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm looking at that too, bro.
Nah, I think that's amazing, because I really didn't have a lot of black male teachers coming up. I mean, I got to definitely give a shout out to Mr. Ray Price, who was my teacher in high school. He helped me get into like all of this media stuff and like help really cultivate my passion and talent for it. And Mr. Knight early on at 223 in Queens, but I didn't really have a lot. I didn't really have.
Do you think you would have benefited from more black male teachers?
Absolutely. I grew up in an all black neighborhood, and my whole elementary school career, I only had one black teacher, Miss Gitt, and she was amazing. I really felt the impact for her, because you got to realize, man, my class is like, out of 25 students, 23 was black. Black, boys and girls, and just to see one of us. I remember Miss Gitt, she just had such a big impact on us because she was young, she was probably like 30 years old at the time or whatever, and just to see like one of us in that position that's coming back and teaching, and she knew when to be stern, she knew when to be loving, what she was loving for most part, and she just knew how to nurture. She was tuned in like we was one of her kids. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like family, and I definitely think
that's what it should feel like. That's what it should feel like.
When you in these neighborhoods, man, and it's great to see one of your own and being able to have them relate to you and you relate to them.
I think that also comes with what you're talking about too, man, is like people from the community you're from teaching in the schools that you go to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool when you can walk outside, you go to the bank with your mom and your teacher's in the bank. Your teacher's a part of the neighborhood. That really bring the neighborhood together, bro. I
mean, I would love it. I didn't really experience this growing up, but my parents and my older aunts and uncles, they would tell me like back in the days, they would even have the police, some of the policemen that's from the neighborhood would actually be patrolling the neighborhood that they grew in. And, I would be open to exploring more of that, man, because what happens is you have some of these people that's from outside of that community or the black community, period. And you have some of these police officers that's afraid and coming into contact with black people for the first time. And they're charged with policing these neighborhoods, and they might not even seen black people like that before.
It's like occupied territory. You know what I'm saying? It's occupied territory. It's not a community. And so, and keeping in mind, you're in New York, I'm in Chicago. We live in super big metropolises, where you have small communities within this kind of bigger infrastructure, you know, but it's important, I think, that we have a value as a city. Like New York City has its values. I can tell you what I think the values in New York City is basically like, look, no matter what you do, no matter who you roll with, this is a very dense area. We got to get along. So we yell at each other. New Yorkers yell at each other. New Yorkers hunt. Everybody got a dent on the right side of their car. Y'all might hit each other, but y'all not killing each other like that no more. You know what I'm saying? That it's not the 80s or the early 90s. Like New York is the idea of America. If the rest of America could kind of get along with all the different races and religions, how New Yorkers get along with one another, this would really be a better country.
How's the killing going in Chicago, man? Like it just always alarms me, man. And you know, I say prayers for all my brothers and sisters in all of the cities, but you know, when I hear about the killings and everything going up in Chicago, you know, consistently for years, I've been hearing about it, man. I just always get concerned. How has that been going?
Well, you know, brother, fratricide is a very where brothers are turned against one another and family members and communities turned against each other. That's something we've always been dealing with in this country, especially in our major cities. You know, one of the things I'm finding, whether I go in the suburbs or the cities, it's always the same problem, but who we turn to hurt is different, right? So you may have someone suffering from drug addiction, and they may, you know, in some communities, you got high rates of suicide. In rural areas, you got high rates of suicide. In big cities, you got high rates of fratricide. But they're suffering from the same problems of poverty, not having access to, you know, food, fresh food. You know, in my community, they got what you call food deserts, where you don't got fresh grocery stores, you know what I'm saying, right near you, or the things you need to be a holistic human. And so in some places, we take it out on each other. In other places, we take it out on ourselves. But it's always the same cause, and it's inequity, you know what I'm saying? Divestment from certain communities, whether they be rural or cities. So when you're dealing with Chicago, you're dealing with long-standing inequities that even though we got Black people in office, from all the way up to the governor's office to all the way down to the city council, these inequities haven't been fully addressed. And a lot of people like to cover up bad policy with, oh, it's Black, elect Black, and we got to do this and they put color on it. But race ain't the issue. The issue is, I think, really caring about communities, man, knowing that, like, when you get in these offices, you're not an authority figure, you're a servant. When you're a police officer, you're a servant. Yo, you know what's crazy? I was talking to my sister, and she asked me, she said, why would you call the police on somebody? Because I said, well, I'll call the police on somebody in a minute. She said, why would you do that, bro? Like, you know, I said, listen, I've been living in this house for about 15 years on the south side of Chicago. My great-grandparents had the house for about 60 years before I bought it from them. And my property taxes going up, my property value going down. If I look at the police like they work for me, I look at the alderman like he worked for me. I pay taxes, bro. Like, I'm a contributing member of society. And I rhyme. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why wouldn't I be able to use the services that my money paid for? I think we got a lot of, like, and my sister said, oh, I get it. We on two different sides of the law. And then it made me realize, when you duck in the law, when you duck in court, these people become authority figures. When you become a productive member and take your community back, they become your servants.
Yeah, I definitely could relate to that part of how it should be, how they should be your servants, man. But it's always like, you know, just over personal experience and things that we've seen, especially on social media, it's just always just in the back of your mind, man. Even if you're not doing anything wrong, that when the police arrive on the scene, something could go like, even if it's a simple traffic accident, and you got to call the police to come and take the report, it's just always in the back of your mind now. I think for a lot of us Black men and women, that something could go left, which is a shame, which is something that, again, we need to improve. And people.
Let me ask you this though:
Yeah,
would
go
you
ahead.
rather deal with the police or would you rather deal with the criminal? Like, if your crib is being broke into, which one do you think is more chaotic?
Right. I mean, theoretically it's the criminal, but that's why we have a lot of people nowadays arming themselves, whether it's legal.
Yeah, we definitely going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know what I'm saying? So like that blows back. Like, I be seeing brothers like that, and my thing is like, you're gonna probably end up hurting somebody you didn't intend to hurt, arming yourself. You probably gonna end up with it in the wrong situation. Like, a lot of people don't know the rules and regulations even behind arming themselves in this society. And so, for me, the less chaotic way is to me and my block is together. I know everybody on my block. I got everybody number. I got cameras on my house. They got cameras on their house.
That's,
you know what I'm saying?
Like that. I like that. Getting back to that communal feel where we looking out for each other. Like, there'd be no way somebody break into your house because your neighbor's there. It hurt my heart the other. I think it was, matter of fact, yesterday, man. I was looking on the gram, and there was the young rapper from Philly, Fat G's, who it was yesterday it came out on the gram. He was at his house in Philly, and there was a car like in front of his house, and it was just stationed there. He came out to see what was going on. He had a gun on him, but it wasn't drawn. Like, he had his hand on it. And the people in the car was acting like they was fans, and we fans, we love your music. And he's telling them, he like, yo, man, I appreciate it, but y'all can't be sitting in front of my house. People hit my house up before, and he was letting them know that he had the heat on him. And man, they shot that man. People in the car shot that man. It turned out to be a setup. And
you know what I think when I hear that though? Number one, his gun didn't help him. So everybody that think your gun gonna help you, your gun don't help you in a moment where you didn't know that moment was coming and they had to drop on you. You know what I'm saying? Number two though, if he felt like there was danger and he's a productive member of that community, he could have called the police. And the police would have came, got behind that car, you know what I'm saying? And drew out whatever the problem was and took care of it. If he owns the house, he's in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? He knew that was in front of his house. We always feel like we got to put ourselves in the line of danger. And that's somehow the courageousness. For me, bro, the courageousness is really like being one with your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
If you want with your neighborhood, that's it.
Yeah. What keeps you in the neighborhood, man? You was telling me that this is a house that you're staying in that's been passed from generation to generation. But a lot of rappers, whether it be for safety or whether it be for, just they want something bigger, they want to expand, they move out of the neighborhood. What's kept you there?
I'm not trying to escape the hood. I want to build it up. You know what I'm saying? I see how these things move in waves, man. The Bronx they got Brooklyn, the Bronx is next. You know what I'm saying? They got Harlem, the Bronx is next. I see it happening, and it goes in waves. It wasn't never nothing wrong with the street. It was just something wrong with the mentality of people who occupied the community that thought, oh, this the hood, this ain't nothing. They didn't value the brownstones, you know what I mean, or the gray stones. And so, what keeps me here too is I feel safe. I feel safe right off the 9 of King Drive. Now, a lot of people will give you raps and they'll rap to you, and tell you how dangerous it is. I feel safer, bro. What, I'm gonna move to another neighborhood where they don't know me, and definitely I'm gonna have those police problems trying to come into my nice big $1 million house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel safer. I'm not running from nobody. I'm not afraid of my people. I love my people, bro. When I walk my dog in my community, it make the neighborhood safer. You know what I mean? It make people look and be like, "Dad, it's men that live here." When I walk out, me and my brothers be out in front of the crib lifting weights and playing music. Man, when we play music and laugh in front of the house, babies know they feel safe because it's grown men laughing. Ain't no war. And guess what everybody say? Everybody be like, "Hey man, whatever you doing, don't do it on that block." You know what I'm saying? That block, that's Rhymefest, all them live on that block. What if it was a bunch of responsible men living on every block?
Need it. Definitely.
Letting ourselves be seen, not afraid. But you said something, bro. It's the social media. The social media scare you from what's really happening in front of you.
That's true. That's true. We gotta get I mean, you know, a lot of social media is what's going on, but we gotta kind of get back to taking control of the narrative and putting out the perspective, the different perspectives, man.
Yeah, this conversation right here, this conversation we having is kind of different than anything you see on social media. Because as two black men, we're discussing safety and running for office and living in Chicago without the murders. How do you make your block safe just being there, being a rapper, and not leaving? Like, bro, we're doing something. Ain't nobody else having this discussion.
Well, we're actually sharing
black teachers.
Right, we're sharing information. A lot of times you see people, they might have great points and counterpoints, but they shouting at each other and arguing and not even just taking time just to see each other's perspective or just really sharing information, and
using fear as a tactic. Fear gets clicks. You know what I'm saying? If you throw something up like, "Look at the immigrants, bro, they gonna take all our da. Click, 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 click. Don't nobody even believe that. That ain't even a reality in most people's life. But click, click, click off the fear. You got people running for president using fear. "Oh, it's gonna be a bloodbath." Click, 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 click. Like, we respond to hell. Hell get everybody attention. You know what I'm saying? But I really believe we the angels, bro. We the ones sent here to build a better earth, to build a better community. I want to be a part of that type of thing. You know, the quickest.
You got the clouds in the back. I said you got the clouds in the background.
Come on, bro. I'm at the studio right now. You know what I'm saying? But the quickest way, bro, to lose my vote is to try to scare me.
Right. Let me ask you this: you're starting with the school board in Chicago at the low the younger end of the spectrum, the schools. How do you feel about the HBCUs now? I feel like HBCUs have been starting to get more light the past few years. They always been there. I'm an HBCU graduate, Norfolk State University. This new Freaknik documentary, which I just saw last night, it's not really about the sexual and all of that we know about Freaknik, or we've heard about Freaknik, but they really dive deep into like how it was a HBCU thing, and HBCUs used to come together in the 80s and have a community where, you know, that wasn't really about wilding out and nothing like that. It was just the community with HBCUs. How do you feel about the schools, bro?
You ever been to Freaknik?
I never been. I missed it. I missed it by a couple of years.
Yeah, you know, I didn't know. You know, we grew up in the era of Freaknik. I grew up in that era, and I was never into the name. I was never into the name of that type of thing or the spirit of that type of like Freaknik type thing. It just didn't appeal to me. The type of guy I am, you know what I'm saying?
But you know, not to cut you off, you know where the Freaknik came from? It came from the song Chic, Freak Out. That's where it came from. It didn't come from. It was nothing. That's what I'm saying. When you watch the documentary, and people that seeing this, when y'all watch the documentary, you'll see it was nothing sexual. It was really about dancing. It was kids that was in Atlanta because Atlanta got all the HBCUs out there, and the kids that couldn't afford to go home and they wanted just to have a nice picnic during spring break and party, and it was just about.
Hey, do you got kids?
Not yet.
Would you when you have your kids, would you let your daughter go to Freaknik?
No, because
then what are you saying to me? Like about it, you know what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying of what it morphed into. But I was saying the documentary, I enjoyed it because I saw what the origins of it was and the purity of it. Like it started in 83, from like 83 to like 93. That was the purity of it. Then once Luke and all of them start coming into it, that's when it started morphing into something else. But the original, how it was originally, absolutely.
Yeah. But by the time the world found out about it, it was over.
Yeah, it was over.
That's all I'm saying. By the time I knew about it, it was over. In Chicago, it was over.
Yeah, it was something else. It was popping the coochie and the guys were getting too aggressive with the women, and it was something different. That's actually why I didn't go, because I think the last year was like 98.
Yeah.
Like 98, 99, and it just was.
And for me, I came in around 96 to the end. You know what I mean? So it was, by that time, it was, crazy. But like back to HBCUs, I learned a lot, man, about like HBCU in itself, though. It's just another family. It's another family to be a part of. What I wonder about, though, is the Greek organizations in HBCUs. Because on one hand, I heard somebody say this. When I was at a white university, I wanted to be a part of a Greek organization because it gave me that family, insular family on this white campus. But when I went to Morehouse, why would I be a part of a Greek organization? Because then they made themselves separate from the rest of the black people on campus, like the elite. So, I guess what I'm interested in is the experience of being black and Greek at a white university is different than the experience of being black and Greek at a black HBCU.
Interesting. I never was into pledging and everything like that, but I just know so many people that have done it, that have joined the Greek, and they love it. It's a lifelong thing. Like some of my nephews now, they in it, and one of my nephews now is in it, and he talks about how it just really changed his whole life and just helped him just get structure and
But doesn't that happen? Doesn't that happen at the HBCU in itself? Like without the Greek, without the fraternity, like isn't the HBCU set up to help black students come in and have that kind of structure?
I absolutely. I think it is. I mean, for me, when I was doing it, it definitely helped me without having the Greek structure. But I know people that have pledged and they joined the sororities and fraternities, and I guess joining those organizations have helped enhance them, because I've heard a lot of great things about it. It never was. Do you
think it creates an elitism on campus?
I think it's room to do that, but I think if it's done right, like if these organizations are really doing what they were originally structured to be, and helping campus, but being contributors to the society around the school and in the community, I think that it could actually work to bring people together.
That's dope. And so that's that was my only question about being Greek at an HBCU. But overall, the HBCUs, man, are necessary. Like, it's necessary for us to really restructure the institutions in our community, because a lot of institutions grow out of academia. You know, I've been teaching at the university, leading some seminars at the University of Chicago, Institute of Politics, and I've been seeing just how academia creates the structures for the society we live in. So HBCUs really have huge opportunities to come create Harlem Renaissance and Chicago Renaissance, and you know, we need that mind share back in our communities, bro.
Yeah. Nah, we do, man. But before, you know, we gotta get into some of this music, man, because this is the new album that you have out, James and Nikki, A Conversation, inspired by, I mean, two of our greatest ever. You know,
come on.
It's
James
like
Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni.
When just their writings alone, man, and you know, again, me having a black teacher early on, they assigned us to read James Baldwin, which was amazing. I don't know if we would have got that assignment, you know, from another type of teacher, but so he was real. Nikki, I had to read her early on in my scholastic career. I'm talking about when I'm like 10 years old, 11 years old, and like when I'm like able to like really understand what's going on, like, you know, the two of them is amazing. What made you bring this concept album together?
Man, James Baldwin got this line. He said, God gave Noah the rainbow sign. No more water, fire next time. Like, and just stuff like that, man. Watching internet clips with James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni were talking in this 1971 conversation where she said, lie to me,
smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell because I love you. I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, you know, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man?
See, I wanted to ask you about that. That was something that I never heard this conversation between the two of them, but when he said, I wrote the quote, he said,
if I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me. And you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think that if you have to be until you can get to the truth within yourself. The thing is, if you're mad at somebody, it's not their problem, it's your problem. You're mad. If you're whatever your insecurity is around your mate, it's not their problem, that's your insecurity. So until you can deal with yourself, if you want to stay in a healthy relationship, just smile at them as you work with yourself around whatever's upsetting you.
Yeah.
You know?
Good.
And so I think that's what she was saying. Nikki Giovanni was saying, yo, until you can fix yourself, man, don't come home and give me all your hate.
Yeah.
Fix yourself.
Yeah, you got to do it. Another one of our great poets, by Mary Jane Blige. You know, she
yeah.
How can I love somebody else if I don't love myself enough to know? You know, like,
come on, man.
It is.
And that's so, you know, so when you ask that question, what made me do this project? That's what, like, yo, man, people gotta know. They gotta know the history we come from. No, James Baldwin said, hey, you got the word is a living thing, and we have a responsibility of what we put in that word and the actions produced by the words that we give. So when you give somebody a word and they move on it, whatever that action produces, you're responsible because you gave them that word. So, you know, stuff like that. I wanted to put into like contemporary terms, real today terms for young people. I wanted to have women on the album rapping with me so you could get that feeling of Nikki, Giovanni, and James Baldwin, but through today's version of like rapping, and, you know, dope ass beats, stuff like that. So, you know, that's where the idea came from. How do we revive the ancestors? How do we, like, you know, if you had if I gave you the Bible, and if I gave you the Bible in Aramaic, you wouldn't know what it was saying. If I gave you their conversation from 1971, it'd probably be too long and drawn out. If I give it to you in 9 rhymes and beats, you'll get it. So I just revised the Bible.
Amazing, my brother. I can't wait to see some of these records, you know, played out live. Like right now, I think my favorite is Elderberry right now, but
yeah,
you man, you know, you're talking some things on there too, but it's one of these projects that you got to really sit down and listen to from top to bottom, and lyrical, of course. I mean, you can't be named Rhymefest and not have lyrics.
That'd be the worst. That was up, boy. Y'all will talk about me like a dog.
That would be the you know, it's great to see a veteran, a tenured MC that has so much going on outside of music, still delivering to the audience. So I applaud you and thank you for that, brother.
Man, thank you for your time, and and I want to tell you something, bro. As a journalist, you are the carrier of our stories. You are the crafter of the narrative. It is very important how you put this out, what way the context in which you put it out. What people learn from like your journalism, bro, is like how the Bible will be read and interpreted. So it's me making the rhymes, but it's you bringing it to the people in a context where they'll say, was this good or was this not good? So man, just take care of that narrative, man, and value what you do, because what you do is valuable, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Definitely will handle this with care. And I'm gonna hit your man so we can talk sidebar, man. It ain't no reason why I ain't even speak to you in probably about 7 years, man. And you know, I want to carry these conversations on because, you know, I feel like there's things that we can still learn from each other, and even when we on the same page with things, we could probably help each other implement some of these ideas and ideals that we have.
We will help each other, man. Yes, let's not be strangers. Barry's gonna give you my phone number or my email, whichever. I give you my number, and we're gonna connect.
All right, I appreciate both of y'all, man. Y'all stay safe. You see, I'm staying warm. You stay cool out there in the shot.
Yeah, keep that hug on, bro.
There we go, man. Appreciate you, my brother.
I love.